he's got a pretty good crew around him. All Ian Laviano did last year was lead the ACC in goals. Michael Krause, one of 4 players in school history with 100 goals and 100 assists. And oh, by the way, Doc Sakin, he's the highest scoring midfielder in Virginia history. But High Point has Asher Nolting, and we talk about all the great attackmen. He's on that list.
Well, Q's talking about fearing nobody. Well, Asher Nolting fears nobody. 6'2", he's 210. He uses his body extremely well. Last year, he was primarily a dodger. In this game, 4 goals, 0 assists. He will pound you at goal line extended, but he's got really soft hands. He's a scratch golfer. He's got extreme feel for the stick and a flair for the dramatic. Right now, though, he's got to be a passer because every team is gunning for Nolting. They're sliding to him when he gets off the school bus.
2-time SoCon Player of the Year. You mentioned the golf prowess. He had an offer to play golf at Kansas. That's where his dad played collegiate golf. To the face-off X, Davis Sampier for High Point and Petey LaSala, one of the best in the country for the defending champions. And we have an early whistle, a false start against Virginia, so High Point will begin with the ball. Panthers are 1-3. They have played a gauntlet to open the season. Already matchups against Maryland, Duke, and Cornell. All 3 of those games losses. The lone win against Drexel. But a season ago, this High Point team beat Duke and Virginia in non-conference. It ended up not mattering a whole lot because they didn't win their conference tournament and were left out of the NCAA tournament. In goal for Virginia, Alex Rode, the most outstanding player of the NCAA tournament a season ago, and he's off to a fantastic start in 2020. First touch here for Asher Nolting, 32 in black. Nolting looking for Tyler Hendricks, the Canadian, on the inside. And a turnover. Virginia will get it back. Looked like Ben Baker stepped in the crease.
Kyle Kaloji draws the Asher Nolting assignment.
Jared Connors always a threat in transition. And here's Michael Krause. He's a little sick, and we're not sure how long he'll be out there today fighting the flu.
Watch Connors, 28 and white, the long stick midfielder. When he comes over the offensive end, he will stay on a lot of times, try to get the 5-on-5 and trap that defensive midfielder who's playing offense on the other side. He is really slick with the stick, too.
Jeff Connor. Over to Krause, left hand free, fires high. Matt Moore has the backup. In the cage for High Point, the freshman from Tennessee, Parker Green. Listens to classical music before the game. And Peyton Cormier firing up the happy tunes early for Virginia, right on the doorstep off the great feed.
Moore picks up the assist. Cormier, the freshman from Canada, who's off to a great start this season. A big target. Missed last season with an ACL injury. He just cuts the far post opposite the Dodger. So the Dodger comes at you, you have 2 decisions. You're either going to get through, get out of the way, or flash to that far post.
And the other thing there, too, is Cormier plays midfield, but his natural spot is in front of the cage and on that left side, so he's going to camp in those opportunities.
Solver for High Point ran into a roadblock. And the ground ball still loose. Finally scooped up by Virginia. And Danny Parker goes tumbling out of bounds, and we get our first flag of the game.
We're going to get High Point with a push with possession.
Technical foul, 3-0 black, push with possession, 30 seconds. Technical foul, 3-0 black.
30 in black there, Grant Amon.
You make the call for yourself at home. That's definitely from behind. It's not on the shoulder. It's more on the scapula area.
Virginia's only been man up 5 times in the first 3 games. Cormier a big threat on the extra man. Now Moore from the wing. Kraus to Dox Aiken, step down rocket too high.
It's a nice pattern. Laviano cuts through. He drags the entire defense down, which gives Aiken all sorts of real estate up top.
Kraus whistles it wide. Mitch Gordon, 37 in white, part of that extra man attack.
Now you'll see High Point go in and out of that shut. They were shutting Dox Aiken off and going 5-on-4. A lot of times it's kind of just a decoy to get the offense to overthink.
Cormier looking for Laviano. It's knocked down. Green out of the cage. Able to retrieve near the end line. Gets away from Gordon. And High Point able to take it back. Now the ride from Virginia. Look at Kraus. All over Luke Capetto. Comes down the other way into the cross of Scott Bauer, the freshman. And Merle will bring it across, so Virginia gets it right back. The ride, again, will bother most teams when you play Virginia.
I thought it was smart, though, for the High Point player to just chuck it.
Yeah, it's really important when you clear against Virginia that your middies stay relative to the ball, come back to the ball. If you float upfield, you're going to get pressured by their attack. Those guys hustle and will rag you. Zone defense now from High Point.
Shot an easy save for Green. Outlet is too high. Nolting. Hendricks on the doorstep, road. The denial. And he flips it out quickly to Connors.
Counterattack.
This is the type of game Virginia wants to play. Moore, and a save by Green. Kraus all over him. We're going to get a flag. And High Point will have the extra man.
Parker Green needs a new stick. He popped the laces on that one. He gets his back up. He is fired up. The freshman from Memphis, Tennessee.
Jordan, bring the guys in, man. Bring them in right now.
I thought the High Point opportunity, as we see this
Number 2, push with possession. 30 seconds. 1, 2.
push, technical, 30 seconds. That's on Michael Kraus. There's the freshman netminder, getting a nice save early on in this first quarter. But when you watch this opportunity for High Point on the road, last year they won this game by canning those opportunities.
In transition.
Stare down the goalie, change levels.
He's a lefty. He put it right in his stick. Is that a scouting report thing, you think?
It's a pipe-to-pipe fake right there. Fake to his stick side, can it low, opposite.
Reach around him.
High Point mixing in a lot of personnel early. And a hot shot from the wing. It's Dalton Silver. Fourth goal of the senior for the senior. Fourth goal of the season for the senior from the Houston area. And we're tied.
Solver with some heat. He absolutely zaps this corner here. He's their outside threat, and they do a nice job of disguising him by starting him in the inside. And then he curls outside, plants his feet, little giddy up.
He has 4 goals this season. All of them have come on the extra man. High Point doing a good job to neutralize LaSala early. You cut his hair yesterday, right, Paul?
Yeah, so Quint probably thinks he's going to have a bad day, right?
He's missed 3 grounders in this one scrap. First time grounders, gentlemen. You got one chance at it at this level.
All right, here's another chance for High Point. Shot and a goal! Taylor Acra, the junior out of Norfolk, Virginia. He is a threat in transition. And the Panthers with a 2-1 lead.
Virginia coach Lars Tiffany told us, we're going to turn up the heat and play fast. Well, winning ground balls in the middle of the field determines tempo, dealing with pressure, finding the open man. I love the little head and shoulder fake. He looks off Nolting, keeps the defense, Kaloji to stay home, and then he buries the rock. Great ground ball play at the midfield line.
And a new faceoff man for Virginia, Lars Tiffany going to Justin Schwenk.
Everyone's concerned with Nolting on that bottom pipe because he is a lethal scorer. That look-off, that little subtle head fake right before the shot was a beauty.
Jack Peel working on the wings. And now Schwenk will come into the box, so Virginia will go 5-on-5 here.
LaSala was the talk of the tournament. He won 8 straight against Duke in the semifinals. He is a clutch face-off guy, but Schwenk is a great change of pace.
LaSala came on last year. I don't think he's ever lost a face-off in overtime.
He isn't. 6 for 6 in overtimes. He's clutch.
Here is Jeff Connor on the far side. Laviano.
Zone defense.
Which gave Virginia trouble in the first 2 games. And there's a save by Parker Green. His third. He had 22 saves in his first collegiate game against Maryland.
Memphis, Tennessee. Kirk, remember Kirk Howell from Notre Dame back in 2001? Captain Kirk led the Fighting Irish to their first championship weekend. He was from Nashville.
I remember
Parker
him.
is from Memphis.
He played against my brother Brian's Johns Hopkins team in '99 or 2000 in the first round of the playoffs.
Second team All-American, 63.2%.
John Torpy telling me last week when I was at High Point that Parker Green was somebody who would have been recruited by a lot more schools had he been from one of the hotbed areas. Not a lot of folks saw him, and High Point feels they've got one of the better freshman goalies in the country. Here's Jake Schleppe, senior captain out of California. Now Nolting. Feeding the crease, and High Point is up 3-1. Kobe Russell with his 4th of the season.
The freshman is feeling it on the other side of this field. And when you're playing Virginia, the defending national champs, on the road, you got to stand tall, and the moment is not too big. And what that happens, you give it to your ace, Asher Nolting. Look at the patience, too. Tremendous patience right there. That is a poised veteran, posting up, knowing that teams are going to be looking to slide to him early. In the early stages of this season, he's been a tremendous passer.
Saint-Pierre right off the face-off. And High Point will work its settled offense. A 3-1 lead early, and surprisingly, Q, Panthers have won 4 of 5 at the dot.
Tuesdays for the Hunter.
I was waiting for it.
We've seen crazy results. Virginia's youth on defense is really evident when you watch them on tape. There's some head-scratching double teams, spacing, backside, help. You've got 2 really talented freshmen, but they don't really have a feel for this thing yet.
Nolting, and that's turned away.
And on top of that, your cover guy, your number 1 defender, Kaloji, 16 and white, was an inside guy a year ago. So it's like an all-new defense there for the Cavs.
And Nolting has been the maestro so far. Baker. Now Mitchell Snyder down the alley. Snyder's pass tipped. Good look, and another goal by High Point. Dalton Solver with his 2nd, and the Panthers have jumped out to a 4-1 lead.
Love this assist. Absolutely love this assist. I mean, you draw the eyes and feet of the defense. You're fading to goal line, extended right-handed. Look at all the defense. 3 guys jump in that direction. The backside's wide open. 4-1 High Point. Another magical Tuesday, perhaps.
It works the walk, and Virginia's going to send all 9 guys to the plate in this 5th inning.
Anish Shroff, Paul Carcaterra, Quint Kesnick with you at Klockner Stadium. Virginia coming off its first loss of the season. That was to Princeton this past Saturday. Kark, you were there. It was Michael Sowers and a hot goalie and Eric Peters.
He was unbelievable. 4 goals, 4 assists. leads the nation in overall points. He's got 32 in 3 games. But his complete arsenal was on display. And on the other end, Eric Peters. The reaction, the top-hand explosiveness of that young netminder. That's the biggest win Princeton's had in 10 years.
Lars Tiffany told us that loss stung. There was a lot not to like. The way Virginia played in the middle of the field, sloppy clears, and even some of their actions after they scored a goal. Lars Tiffany was telling us, guys chirping at midfield. That was addressed right after the game on Saturday.
Interesting that the coach noticed their celebrations. He didn't like the way they looked. He also said some guys have been late for breakfast. Who's ever late for breakfast, Kark? Can't be late for breakfast.
Talking to the wrong guy, man. I don't miss a meal.
So I think it's a wake-up call. I really do. 19's got the ball here. I think it's a wake-up call for the defending champs. Kind of okay, the party's over. Here's this zone. It's just a 3-3 zone.
How should Virginia attack here, Paul?
From behind.
Moore feeding in front, and he finds Kraus.
Virginia has struggled against a zone at times this season, in the early stages of the season, because they've been pretty typical in terms of where they attack. They keep the ball up top. When you bring it down to the wings and you let your playmakers like Matt Moore find those seams. I mean, this is an elite passer, 5 and white. Allow him to take the rock and skip it through the heart of this defense.
Loyola and Lehigh played a ton of zone against Virginia. They've seen this quite a bit. I expect them to be improved as this game goes on.
52 straight games with a point for Michael Kraus. Only Jackson Morrill of Yale has a longer point streak amongst active players. And another face-off won by High Point. Hunter Vines, 5 in black, the speedy sophomore. How about this attack for High Point? Knowlton, Colorado, Hendricks, Canada, Baker, Ohio, the first midfield, Vines, Russell, Schleppe, as Russell took a shot, but High Point was in the crease. The first midfield, Vines from Tennessee, Russell is a Maryland kid, Schleppe a California kid. It's an eclectic mix geographically.
The game is changing. You spent time with this program too. You were down there last week. They treated you like you were the Pope, man. They lined up, every kid on the team shaking his hand.
It's just common courtesy, which, again, when people see you guys, especially Quint.
21 states Panthers from, but we've seen a lot of states on these rosters, but from really non-hotbed areas. I mean,
Tennessee,
Memphis, Houston.
Nevada. Houston's not a state, by the way.
No, I mean, Houston's not a hotbed either.
There's a goalie from Houston that verbally committed to Lars Tiffany. The last name Noon is going to be spectacular.
This kid's going to be pretty good. Peyton Cormier, we were talking to Lars Tiffany. The comparison he dropped was Chris Cloutier, the former North Carolina star.
I think Cormier may ultimately have a wider skill set, maybe perhaps a little more mobile, but their games mirror each other right now. Got to see this kid in the Naptown Challenge when he was like a 9th grader, and he tore it up. He was the MVP. Good outside shot, great accuracy from the indoor game, the body, the hips, the shoulders, lot to like.
And when teams go man, he will feast on short sticks because of his big body. He's 6'2", 200. He's more than 200 pounds, by the way. I was walking behind him the other day. He is a thick, young dude, and he uses his shoulders. If you watch him dodge, when you put a pole on Aiken and you short stick Cormier, he will make you pay.
You don't have enough poles to cover Virginia.
That's the scary part. All their mainstays are back. Aiken, Laviano, Kraus, Moore. You add a talent like Cormier. We have seen Peter Garneau, who looks like he's going to be a star in the making, and the #1 recruit in the country, Connor Schellenberger. Virginia's got so much talent, they have decided to redshirt him. He'll start on attack next year with Moore and Cormier.
I mean, I double pole this midfield. not this midfield, but that first midfield. I got to have a shorty on Laviano, face guarding him inside. That's dangerous in itself.
The one guy I would like to see get more playing time is Garneau. I think every time he's stepped on the field, he's made a play. He's just a freshman, 33 in white, but he can dodge north-south and make you pay.
Docks Aiken to Regan Quinn, and Parker Green is there. Race to the set line, and Green far out of the cage. It's going to be Virginia ball. Green's got to hurry back in. Shot on goal is wide by Griffin Harris. Missed chance there for Virginia.
Yeah, as a goaltender now, with the immediate restarts, back in the day, they'd wait for you to get back in the crease. With the immediate restarts, you got to weigh the positives and negatives of a play like that.
Turnover by Moore. Lars Tiffany told us that Matt Moore at times this season has tried to do that too much.
Give High Point credit. On Sunday, Cornell took it to them.
Yeah.
They've been on a road trip here, away from home, playing elite teams. You look at their February. They have the hardest February in college lacrosse. I thought they'd come here with the gas tank on empty. They're swinging.
And you wondered mentally, too, how much was left. They were blowtorched in the second half by Maryland, by Duke. Lost 21-11 on Sunday to Cornell. That's got to wear on you at some point.
I think they're college student athletes. I think they're excited to play on national TV. I think they're excited to play here in this venue. I think I sensed good energy from them in warm-ups. They had cryotherapy yesterday, cupping, the whole deal.
Saved by Alex Rode. Q, you worked with Rode in the offseason, and you saw what kind of goalie was developing. What did you see in your camps when Alex Rode started to take charge a little bit?
It was a transformation of a young man. You know, it's the great thing about college athletics. We talked to him during championship weekend. We walked out of there like, wow, this kid's real introverted. He played great in the finals, and he shows up at my camp, and I'm not sure what to think. Wow, he was amazing with the kids. I mean, it was like a different guy. He came out of his shell. He has grown up. He's transformed himself both on and off the field, and that's the wonderful thing about this whole experience.
Now there's Peter Garneau, Kark, 33 in white.
Big right hand when he sets his feet, but can shoot on the run lefty, and they're in a zone right now, and Garneau can be a zone buster. He can let it fly. Lars Tiffany thinks this kid could press to get on the extra man unit.
Moore hits the crossbar. Comes to Garneau. He just misses. 1:52 to go in this first quarter.
Good pressure by Virginia now. They're getting looks.
High Point continues to sit in the zone. High Point does not fall for the hidden ball trick. Kraus over to Garneau. Good look. And he ties it at 4.
Starts with the junior, Quint's boy, Alex Rode. Making a big-time stop. MVP at Champ Weekend a season ago. That's too easy for the netminder. And this Garneau kid, honestly, every time he steps on the field, something good happens. And that is beautiful placement on a righty goalie. I love the upside of Peter Garneau, just a freshman. He's watching his high school tapes, and when you watch high school kids play, you say, that's not a college goal, that's not a college move. He was making moves that I knew would transition to this college game.
He played in the Under Armour All-America game last year, comes in ranked number 40th among the freshmen according to Inside Lacrosse. That was an oversight. This kid's a star.
Teo Dahl on the face-off wing. He's now the number 2 LSM with Will Rock indefinitely suspended.
Teo's a neat kid. I spent some time in the locker room with him yesterday, north of the border in Canada, and went to Avon Old Farms and discussing his journey to come back this semester and go to grad school.
Cormier, a first quarter hat trick, and Virginia takes the lead.
Relentless pressure. 14 shots. They're on pace nearly for 60 in this game. After a steady diet of high shots early that Parker Green was soaking up, we've seen some nice level changes. This is the new wave of this Virginia team, the youth. Garneau, Cormier, I think ultimately they have a lot more offensive weapons this year than they had last year. They're deeper there.
Last year, they were so reliant on that top six. Now, that top six was probably the best top six in the country. But you're right, the depth of scoring is considerable and impressive.
The question I have, though, moving forward, who replaces Ryan Conrad and Matt Jama in the middle of the field? That's the big question for Virginia. You have the horses on offense. Defense will grow up behind Alex Rowe because he's better than he's ever been. But the middle of the field is the big question.
I add Cade Sawstad's health to that list.
Petey LaSala lost it. Final 45 seconds of quarter number one. 4 unanswered for Virginia after High Point took a 4-1 lead. Again, Petey LaSala got his hair cut by Kark, otherwise he normally scores on plays like that.
Petey's the man.
And his beard.
Yes, I trimmed his beard.
Did a nice job.
Moore to Kraus. Third assist for Moore, second goal for Kraus. 5 unanswered. Here come the Who's.
Funny, one of the other guys in the locker room yesterday was Matt Moore, and we were talking about his transformation as a full-time attack. When he told me, he's like, man, I wish I played attack my whole life. I said, dude, to be quite honest with you, all the skills that you bring to midfield in terms of your dodging, you can incorporate in the attack spot. But what's floored me is his vision from behind. It's incredible that this kid was a midfielder most of his life.
Very, very talented. And once again, a level change by Kraus. He catches that one up top, and he changes levels and leaves it low. And Green had all that success early, sitting on some of the high heat.
Schwenk in at the face-off X for Virginia. Late last year during the regular season when Michael Kraus was nicked up, that's when we saw Matt Moore take his game to the next level. Schwenk plays it back. Moore over to Laviano. Final 10 seconds here. Laviano looking for Schwenk. And Chris Price pushing transition. He'll have to fire it on goal here. He does, and Rode makes the save as time expires. Panthers came to Klockner with purpose. High Point opened the game on a 4-1 run. And then, like they did so many times a season ago, Virginia came back. 5 unanswered by the Who's to close the first quarter. A first quarter hat trick by Peyton Cormier. Defending champs with a 6-4. The real season is the SoCon.
Absolutely. And their slogan this year is leave no doubt, right? So if things don't work out in the early stages in non-conference and they build this team in terms of their power and playing top-notch lacrosse, if they can run the table in the SoCon and win that, they accomplish everything that they want to do. When they beat Virginia and Duke last year, their number one criteria in terms of what they want to do in the beginning of the season, win the conference. They didn't do it. They were 13-3. It was a disappointment.
Even though it was the most wins in one season in school history.
Put them on the map, ranked as high as number 8. Everybody was talking about the High Point Panthers, but they lost to St. John's, they lost to Jacksonville, you lose in the conference finals, and all of a sudden you realize. So this year, they'll go slow early, and I think they'll peak later. I think they understand the timeline a little better this year.
When I visited with them last week, it was hard for this team to be at home and watch Virginia and Duke in the semifinals, 2 teams they beat last year. Asher Nolting told me he couldn't even watch the game. Here comes Matt Moore. He's got 3 assists already. Still plenty of time on the shot clock. Virginia has the backup.
High Point's biggest challenge this year will be defensively. They're switching back into a man-to-man after playing a lot of zone in that first quarter. They like to run. They like to be a gambling type D.
You see Moore.
They got to start winning some matchups, Clark.
He's getting defended by Walsh right there, 24 in black. I think Walsh is kind of playing on his heels a little bit. If I'm Moore, I attack with my shoulder there around goal line extended and make him play me from the body.
Regan Quinn, who was injured last year against the Shorty Accra, with the shot clock winding down, and a save by Parker Green, the freshman from right outside of Memphis.
And that was great defense by Accra. Outstanding short stick midfield defense.
Chris Price, 9 in black. He can push transition. And now Nolting out of Colorado. 4 goals against Virginia, had a 5-point game in the win against Duke. He was actually recruited to Virginia by Lars Tiffany. But John Torpy sold him on High Point, as did the campus. Devin Buckshot, 61 in black. High Point very high on his future. Knocked down off the scramble, and Rode comes up with it. Here's Connors the other way. Connors has it stick checked away, and a turnover. High Point gets it back.
Alex Rode, the eraser.
How good has he been this season?
He was really, really strong against Loyola. Thought he was steady against Lehigh. Tonight he's made 2 stops that are absolute goals that he's taken away from High Point.
Timeout, John Torpy. We'll take a timeout too.
Look at this
Alex
stop.
Rode. Point blank.
That top hand. High Point's not going away, though.
High Point has a roster of 60 players from 20 different states, and Ontario is a Canadian province. 6 players from North Carolina, which is where the school is located, just outside of Greensboro. We mentioned it earlier. Their starting defense, Clayton Kroll, Pittsburgh, not exactly a hotbed. Nick Walsh, Minnesota. Chris Price, South Carolina. Starting attack, Colorado, Canada, Columbus, Ohio.
And you were on campus last week.
Beautiful
You said
campus,
it's
by the
great,
way.
right? Aren't they putting like an Italian restaurant at the stadium?
We are going
I need to
have
call
to
every High Point game.
We're going to have to find a way to get down there next season, because they are building right next to Vert Stadium a high-end Italian restaurant. Not just an Italian restaurant, but
High-end?
exquisite high-end Italian restaurant with a patio from where you can enjoy your gabagool and watch the game,
Yeah.
Paul.
It's scary. And seconds and thirds.
Yes, some prosciutto with fresh buffalo mutts. I'll
That's
take
right.
it all day.
They cast a wide net in their recruiting, that's for sure. Try to find that kid who's overlooked from the non-hotbed area.
How about the defense there by Quinton Matsui, the freshman.
Minnesota, Eden Prairie, a non-hotbed area, great athlete, excellent high school football player, an Under Armour All-American, still learning to play at this level. It's much more complex defensively. Slide packages, invert packages.
Yeah, Matsui in high school stopped the #1 guy on opposing teams, chase him all over the field. Now you're one part of 6 moving parts with the goalie 7, and it's a lot of thinking.
Kid's very talented. He's going to be a star. Big Q.
First midfield down, it's Connor along with Garneau getting run on this unit with Cormier. Here comes Connor, big-time recruit last year. Nice move by Moore, bouncer, save Green.
Great stop the way he shuffled his feet.
Garneau back to Cormier. Looking for Connor, it's off his cross. Moore retrieves. 7 saves now for the freshman goalie. Connor against the short stick. And a save by Green, 8 saves.
Baby, that was smooth.
Yes, he made it look easy.
Smooth on the outlet.
Joel Skirbo. That's a push from behind. Buckshot couldn't finish it, but High Point will have the extra man.
It's going to be a push on Virginia. 30 seconds.
Hans Wittelsberger, he's got his midseason tan.
Oh, he lives in Florida. Should. Yeah, that was on Garneau. Aggressive flag toss there.
Well, they like to show, they throw the flag high to show everybody that the flag's down. So
Dalton Silver's the guy on the extra man.
like a flare.
4 of his 5 goals this year on the EMO. Solver to Hendricks, and Rode gobbles it.
If you watch Alex Rode from the ACC tournament last year to right now today, you could argue the best goalie in college lacrosse, right?
Yeah, I'd say on a 5 or 6 game sample size, yeah. The last 5 or 6 games.
Remember last year, he lost his job early in the season. In fact, he struggled early.
It was
Virginia
horrible.
lost to High Point. They were 1-2. He was benched.
Horrible out of the goal that day. Made 2 bad decisions that led to goals directly. Misplayed a ground ball. Came out and tried to make a hit.
Meanwhile, Green's keeping High Point in the game. 8 saves now. Aiken the rebound.
And Alex improved gradually over the course of the season, but his May, specifically championship weekend, was the best he played since high school.
Moore too high. It was specifically after the High Point game. He lost his job. Patrick Birkinshaw, who since transferred to Penn, became the starter. But then Rode finished the game the following week against Syracuse, regained his starting job against Brown. Still had to win it week to week. MOP though. Connors, the long pole. His 15th career goal. And it started with the ride.
Virginia wants to play the full 110 yards. They're not going to let you breathe. Up by the midline, turnover created. More scoop, spin, eyes up. Watch this unselfish passing. One more to the backside. Connors continues to run the field as a pole. He is a real weapon. He reminds me a lot of Larkin Kemp, who played for Lars Tiffany at Brown.
Yeah, he's fantastic, and the offensive players around Connors, because he crosses the midfield a ton. He's a long stick midfielder who lives on the wings, but he stays on for offensive possessions. And Kraus, Moore, Laviano, those guys do not care that he's a long stick, man. They will force feed it to him knowing that he's going to convert.
And go to their practices.
I was just about to say it. He practices with the offense.
Offensive drills, the shooting drills, the passing drills, the formational drills. You know, that's nothing new that you see on game day.
Virginia had won the previous 5. Illegal procedure, so High Point gets it.
Key possession, Anish, here. They've hit a drought.
Hoos have scored 6 in a row.
I'd like to see Nulting get a little aggressive in terms of making a play, 32 in black behind the cage.
And they haven't moved him around as much. At their practice, he played up top and on the wings a little more than he has today. Buckshot! Hello! The redshirt freshman with his 3rd, and that puts an end to a 6-0 Virginia run.
Buckshot's got some game. You and I talked earlier today in regards to his future. He's a Native American who's played a ton of box lacrosse outside that Syracuse, New York area. And just look at the flick of the wrist there. I mean, that is an absolute hammer of a shot. But look how quick that wrist action is, man. He is big, he's strong, he's going to get to the middle of the field. Right-handed guy, Buckshot made his presence felt.
If you're going to be an attackman, what a name, too. John Torpy told me when they unlock his potential, you're looking at a special player.
What you have with a guy like Buckshot and Cormier is you could play good defense, Quint. You could pressure their bottom hand, but they've played so much box lacrosse, it doesn't matter. They're going to eat that checkup.
They soak it and run right through it. Matsui's got to get his feet to the table.
Well, this is dangerous for High Point. Connors launches and scores!
Oh. This is just downright scary. You see this play. High Point's got a player hurt from 15 yards. Plant your feet and let it go.
No shot. Right now you see Asher Nulting walking off the field with one of his teammates. What number is that?
And that is Davis Sampier,
Face-off man.
the face-off man, being helped off the field. So Colin Hoban, the freshman, 53% on the season,
Yeah, very
trots
quick.
out to the X.
Excellent off the whistle when you watch 53 in black. Yeah, he's young, quick on his feet, and his strength as a face-off man is that anticipation and beating his opponent on that initial whistle.
Hoban almost scooped it. Instead, it comes to Peel. Accelerating toward the cage.
Peel's a really good athlete. They've switched him from offensive midfield to that defensive midfield and transitional role. And his development, I believe, will go a long way this season for the Cavaliers.
Well, it's filling the void, right? The Jamas and the Conrads of the world. You need those guys, man. We know what Virginia has right now in the 6-on-6 set. All stars all over the field.
Those were heart and soul guys, too. Ooh. How about that? Kraus finding Michael Biankowski, the freshman. Again, defending champs bring in the #1 recruiting class in the country. There is so much talent on this roster.
Well, Biankowski understands the flow of this offense, but Kraus with the flick of the wrists and the body contact here.
It starts with a two-man game between Cormier and Kraus on the left wing. They give these guys all sorts of real estate. There's the two-man game right there. The throwback, and the defense is sucked to the near side. Look at that. Biankowski's just wide open, and Kraus becomes a feeder. So a nice job by Sean Kerwin starting that set with the two-man game on the left wing.
They run that two-man game a ton because what happens is Cormier has a short stick. They switch it off. Kraus gets it. He's going to go to the rack, and then when he has that ball there, everyone in High Point knows it's red alert, right? So their eyes are now on Michael Kraus. He becomes the passer.
High Point facing off with a pole this time. How about that? A chance for Clayton Kroll. He's taken 9 draws this year, and now Nolting will set up the offense. Schleppe, fifth-year senior, a captain out of Santa Margarita, California. Had a couple of goals against Virginia in the win last year. Buckshot back into the game.
Why is Nolting, Clark, you made a valid point. Why is Nolting not handling and initiating more offense?
I look at him as a guy like a Grant Amen at Penn State or Michael Sowers at Princeton. Every offensive touch, the ball should be in his stick.
And there he is, checked by Kyle Kaloji. Virginia without its top defenseman, Kate Sawstead. He's been injured since the fall. Nolting doubled, help coming, Parker all over him, and now dumps it back behind the cage. Buckshot whips it behind his back.
See, when he handles the ball, though, he's going to get doubled
He
and
drew
tripled.
3.
Yeah,
he's got to get the ball out of his stick a little quicker.
Gets it out of his stick quicker. There's going to be opportunities.
Vines has good change of direction. Now he's got the short stick matchup. The help came, and a flag down. They almost timed the slide right. And Vines is down as well.
He got held up. He got lit up.
What's the challenge of this Sunday, Tuesday turnaround for High Point?
30 seconds. Procedure
Well,
right.
you play a game like Cornell, and Cornell's a team right now that a lot of people are talking about, right? If they can clean up those face-off issues, this
Which
is
they
an
have.
offense, yeah, as of now.
Correct.
They haven't gone
against some
through a
bad face-off
gauntlet.
teams.
But they're a team that scares everyone when they have the ball. They put 20-plus on them. You worry about the psyche of this
Look,
team,
stick
right?
is broken right there. The Virginia player continued to play. Danny Parker continued. Watch his stick breaks right there. You got to drop both of those pieces and run off the field.
Yeah,
That
I'm
is
not sure he knew
super-
that the
think he knew
stick
either.
was broken.
Come on. When you're wrapping your arms around the guy, you know the
It's
stick's
happened
broken.
so fast. It wasn't like 3 seconds he's
it's
playing without the stick.
Shattered titanium. So you got to drop it.
Now, Vine's a big part of what High Point does, a speed dodger, 3-sport star in high school, football, lacrosse, and soccer.
It's good to see him up, but you asked the question about the quick turnaround. The crazy thing about college lacrosse is we really shouldn't talk too much about this quick turnaround if the biggest game of the season's on a quick turnaround, right? You got to learn how to play on a quick turnaround.
High Point's going to have to win the SoCon championship on
a quick turnaround. Yeah, you want to win the national title, you play Saturday and Monday.
Lars Tiffany last year went to a Sunday practice model specifically to win on Memorial Day. It paid off. Cavaliers ran circles around Yale in the final game. Fact.
They were faster, more physical.
I don't care how many weights Yale's lifting. They didn't have their legs on Memorial Day. Yeah, they played a taxing semifinal. But so what? The deal is you got to win 2 games in 3 days to win your league, to win the national championship.
So physically, the challenge shouldn't be as much as what I'm trying to get as the mental challenge of playing Cornell and Maryland and Duke and now Virginia, if you're High Point.
High school teams play 2-3 games a week. Clubs and events.
Nolting, Hendricks, save road.
I mean, how many events these kids playing in a weekend, Clark?
They'll play 4 or 5 games in a day sometimes. In a day, and then the next day do it again.
We're back to full strength. John Torpy told us points of emphasis on the quick turnaround. A simple game plan, hydration. Quint mentioned the cryotherapy. Players wore the compression sleeves.
And I think coming off a loss, it's actually helpful to play on a Tuesday after a Saturday loss.
Here's Garno, who's got great speed and a big shot. And there's another save by Green. He's held his own here at Klockner. 9 first-half saves. Price. And there's Rode at the other end, who's been every bit as good.
That's a big-time save.
Both of them work. Both of them work.
Garno on one end.
Parker digs that out left-handed. He catches it clean and hits the outlet, and then Rode from point-blank range.
Against a long pole, you don't know where that ball's being released. When a long pole comes down like that and he brings the stick back, all 6 foot of that stick.
I get the feeling that Alex is really good 5-hole, that down right at his feet.
Whether you're good at 5-hole or not, though, to track that shot.
It's an amazing save. You got to shoot the pipes against Alex. You got to move him side to side.
Doc Zakin, 6 and white. He's been quiet today, and it's been a quiet start by his standards to the season. More to Cormier! A work of art by Virginia.
It ain't easy being green. When you're a freshman from Memphis, you scoop it up, you come out firing, strike right on the money. Give your team an opportunity, but at the other end, Alex Rhodes says, no, not so fast. I'm the national champ.
And then on the other end, Cormier. Virginia fans, get used to this because he's a midfielder this year. He will be feasting on the backside with his left hand in Charlottesville for the next 3 years. This kid has star potential, and you put him around guys like Matt Moore and Ian Laviano, Peyton Cormier. Bam!
Hoban devoured after winning the faceoff. And Virginia's got the ground ball. Bauer, the freshman.
Nice.
Up ahead, LaSala. LaSala all the way. LaSala saved Green. Timeout, John Torpy, 4:05 to go. Virginia, after being down 4-1, has scored 9 of the last.
In the middle of the field, a little tic-tac-toe action, 24, Canson.
He's not seeing the goalie very much, Clark. I mean, he's looking at this net like there's a lot of white there. There's a lot of net.
4 goals, 4 shots on the season, 9 goals, 15 shots. Pretty good.
Yeah. That's usually something that young midfielders and or attackmen can struggle with, the shooting percentage right away.
High Point, 1 of 10 shooting after starting 4 of 5. Good to see Vines back in there.
He's fast.
Buckshot. He's a physical dodger, and one.
They're going to count this one. This is ridiculous. Ward or not. Look at the strength here, Q.
And just look at him. He can barely fit in that jersey. His shoulders are ripped. Was this a hold? A Ward? What was the deal there? Because both benches right there with the free hand.
It's tough. You see the free hand moving, but is it the defensive stick that gets it up there?
Right.
That's the question here. If he used his free arm without any of that defensive pressure, it's a Ward. That's tough. In game, I think that's the right call. He is a hammer.
Who does he remind you of?
Oh, Nanico.
That looked like Nanico.
That was Nanico.
That was Nanico.
IMG.
Both teams about even at the face-off X. 9-8, the slight advantage to Virginia.
Or your guy up from the Cuse who won the national title with the game-winning goal in
Cody
OT.
Jamison?
Cody, yeah. It's little Cody there.
Now LaSala looking for the pinch and pop. The bouncer not there.
Petey wants a goal.
Petey better get a goal for you.
He looks good, man. I gave him a nice cut. Tremendous
Did you
competitor.
cut
He looks
anybody's
like G.I.
hair?
Joe. It looks like G.I. Joe. You remember
He's
the
had
little...
a beard since his sophomore year in high school, he told me.
Did you cut anybody's hair on Virginia last year?
No.
No.
I'm waiting for it, Quint. Go ahead. Say what you're going to say.
So old. Stop. Move on. Call the game.
It's not a trend yet.
Let's get back to Buckshot. Okay. 3rd and 1.
2nd and 9.
Yeah. Buckshot, though, regardless of the free hand or how that goal could be interpreted, what's so amazing is that he can get draped and find his bottom hand, right? That's flying through the air and in one motion shoot. That is
and
incredible.
Like deal with that distraction.
Deal with all of that.
To deal with that.
2 hands and arms flopping, and he finds a way.
Great to see you guys, by the way. It's great to be back.
I'll let that linger for a moment. Ben Baker skips it wide.
If I'm High Point, I'm using Asher Knowlton, not as the Dodger to score or even the first pass, but he's the two-way guy.
Knowlton finds the back of the net, and that gets the High Point bench fired up.
Or just keep going around goal line extended and no one picks you up. But I think Knowlton needs to be assertive here. He needs to take over this game. When they won last year in Charlottesville by 1, he scored 4 goals. He took over the game.
Watch Kaloji play this. He decides to go underneath the pick in front of the goal, and Knowlton beats him to the spot and slams the door shut. So back-to-back goals by High Point, game on. 10-5, things didn't look good, quite frankly.
Remember last year, High Point was down 3-0 early. Came back with 4 unanswered in that game.
But that's the first time I've seen the Virginia defense not really go to Knowlton and slide prematurely, right? They want Knowlton to be a passer there. Moving forward, he's got to understand that those slides are going to come quick, and you got to be a passer.
There comes LaSala again, and another denial by Parker Green. Skirbo. Oh, he took a stinger on the hip from Kraus.
No flag. Official watched it happen, too.
2 minutes to go. If High Point gets one here, it changes the tenor of the game. Baker and the Panthers with a man up coming. Knowlton skips it to Solver, who thought about it. And you can be patient now if you're High Point. EMO on the way with a flag down. Solver's got a couple of goals today. Knowlton over to Baker. And High Point will have the man up.
I didn't see this in real time when it happened. Oh, yeah, on the way down, he got him on the helmet. Official's in good spot. It glanced off his helmet. That was a nice double team. It's a good pinch double team.
Yeah.
Great execution.
They're aggressive.
It's a minute man up for High Point. 1 for 3 with the extra man today.
That's
There's a
spot.
save by Rode.
That is where you don't want to shoot it against Alex Rode. I'm convinced now from watching him at the end of last year,
You're
watching
right.
him on tape. He's really good 5-hole, right at his feet.
Aiken slips. He's going to play football for Villanova in the fall. You just saw some football moves there. He was a Division I football recruit out of high school, and even recently when he announced he was going to use his grad transfer to play football, had offers from schools like Arizona and Cincinnati, eventually choosing Villanova close to his home.
Yeah, only a couple miles away, and he'll work on a master's degree. And we saw what Pat Spencer's doing in hoops, right? You have that 5th year to use it. You can play 4 in one sport and 1 in another, and Spencer's doing it at Northwestern on the hardwood, and Docs wants to take a run, man.
We could see Jared Bernhardt do it as well, the attackman for Maryland.
Alex Rode, 3 times tonight, has made brilliant saves. 5-hole, which is slang for between your legs, basically, down on the ground. And what he does so well there, watch the top of his stick. It's a tomahawk chop where he takes the top hand and yanks it right down to the ground, to the turf, and fills up his wide stance with the head of his stick. It's a fairly easy stop, quite frankly, because you don't have to move your feet side to side, Clark.
Well, let me ask you this. Based on the fact that he's so strong in that area, if you're in the High Point offensive huddle,
shoot the pipes.
What do you tell him?
Shoot the pipes. Shoot the pipes. Make him move his feet.
Some guys, though, don't like to be told where to shoot, right? You struggle with that as a coach.
It's always
would you tell them right now, don't shoot low on road, or what would you say?
I would say, hey guys, don't put it at his feet, is what I would say. Don't put it at his feet.
Connor McKeamy, volunteer assistant coach for High Point. I had a chance to spend a lot of time with him last Tuesday. During practice, he operates drones, and what he does is he gets footage that's from the overhead angle, aerial footage, and that allows coaches to teach better because it's easier to visualize the concepts. It allows players to learn better. They upload those videos onto YouTube, and he's the man behind the drones during practice.
Bear down. If you remember our coverage from years ago, Connor was a high school player, played here at High Point. I walked into the stadium with him today. It was good to see him. He's got a great family, but I was asking about the looks, and he said that he mimics our Skycam coverage from championship weekend and some of the looks. From top of the box looking at the goal, or when they attack from X, he likes to be on the end line looking. He said he was watching tape from the 2014 championship weekend.
He drove me around campus in a golf cart, and
once again, getting treated like the Pope.
I felt so much safer with Connor than I've ever have with Paul.
Well, Connor's certainly tougher. You know that.
Well, I've been driving since I'm 13. You're the worst driver out of anyone, right? I think you can drive with 2 feet, Anish, so I don't take it personally.
The guy who goes the wrong way on a one-way street.
Intentionally,
says, hey, we're
'cause I
okay.
wanted to get
We're
there
okay.
quicker. Intentionally.
First half comes to an end. It's fun to have the band back. Virginia was down 4-1 early. High Point with thoughts of an upset. Cavaliers went on a big run. High Point with a couple of goals late in that first half. But we have a good one here at Klockner on a Tuesday night. Jared Connors, the pole, a couple of first half goals. How about Buckshot? 10-7 Virginia at the half. We'll look at the best players in the country when we come back. Goal game as we begin the second half, 10-7. You mentioned Parker Green, the other goalie. Alex Rode for Virginia has been great too.
Very good. Catching the ball, making a lot of low stops. Questions to me, High Point. You go back to that zone defense, or do you play man-to-man defense?
What do you do?
Clark?
Right now, my biggest question I have for High Point is how they're going to attack Virginia when they're on offense. I think you stay zone. The sample size isn't big enough right now on defense for High Point not to commit somewhat to the zone, but offensively, I think things are going to be different in this half in terms of the way Virginia attacks. Virginia will slide early, I think, in this third quarter. So Nolting's going to have to be a big-time passer.
Here is Nolting against Kaloji. Nolting on the doorstep, ran out of room.
You see
the early slide by Bauer.
You see the slide.
He went to the net, and High Point only had like 4 guys on the field. Okay, they were not really set. That was early offense. You got to know you're going to get doubled and tripled. You don't have much help there.
Schleppe, Vines, and Russell, the first midfield on for High Point. Here's Kobe Russell.
Toughness.
Junior out of Boys Latin, which has a great tie collection, and it's lost and found.
Probably wearing Kobe's tonight. Don't even know it.
He'd be proud if he knew. Nolting spinning inside behind the back. And there for the backup is Vines.
He's a big man.
He is.
Asher's a big man.
When we were on the field pregame, and I was talking to him for a little bit, I was surprised at how big he was.
6'2", 210, Greenwood Village, Colorado. Dad played golf at Kansas. Nolting had the opportunity to do so as well. He skied a lot growing up. Shot clock at 8.
See, this is late in the possession. I want Nolting to have the ball.
Instead, it's Russell. He gets sandwiched. Shot clock violation.
10 seconds and under, find your superstar, right? Because at the very least, if he goes to the rack, Virginia's going to be aggressive sliding. And that's what Princeton did on Saturday really, really well. Late in possessions, Michael Sowers had the ball.
Doc Sakin has been quiet, Paul.
He has. You know, his shooting right now is not in midseason form. We haven't seen the changes of levels and making goalies really work pipe to pipe.
They haven't chosen to initiate with him and against the long pole. And I think as the ball movement gets better, he'll get more step down looks. But he's kind of been a complimentary piece, right?
Here comes Matt Moore against Walsh to Laviano off the crossbar. And the rebound taken by High Point.
Laviano looked like kind of a volleyball set.
Coughlin over to Baker.
Didn't shoot it, just kind of tapped at it.
And the pass by Nolting intended for Coughlin. Quick outlet by Rode. Over to Kraus. We were told he may not play much today. He's been out there quite a bit, battling the flu. Moore to Aiken. Save Green. Laviano back to Moore. Aiken, and there it is. And is that the gimme goal for Docs that gets him going?
You're looking at Virginia's all-time leading goal scorer from the midfield. We talk about a slow start to 2020. This guy's born to score goals. He will get going in 2020. There's so many pieces to the puzzle, and there's different ways to get involved. I actually thought he changed levels on that first shot, but Parker Green made a fantastic save. That was picture-perfect placement in terms of how he made the righty goalie jump pipe to pipe there, and he stuck it offside.
A veteran shot, a smart shot. Matt Moore, meanwhile, has 5 assists, and the ground ball win in the zone creates the unsettled.
Moore last year, 3 goals, 4 assists against High Point. And he was sensational down the stretch during that championship run. 10 goals, 11 assists in the NCAA tournament. Had the game winner against Maryland in overtime. This one is raked back toward midfield. And they'll give it to High Point.
Virginia's defense was why they won the national championship last year. Got all sorts of new faces this season, and this is still a work in progress.
Snyder. This is Kaler, big 6'5".
See the slides. They are going early.
Here's Buckshot.
Nice!
What a feed to Solver. I'll tell you what, the more you watch Devin Buckshot, the more you like.
Absolute player. Kark, you called it with the Virginia slide. That's an early double team. High Point senses it. Watch the far side right there, dealing with the double team, find the adjacent man. He then becomes the trigger man. You jam it into buckshot, and look at the creativity. Are you kidding me? Backhanded?
The aggressive defense, it's not the first pass that you'll cripple them. It's not sometimes the second, but it's the third. You got to understand that this is a defense that is aggressive by nature. They're going to slide. And what I loved about High Point there is they understood the rhythm of the offense, where the slide was coming from, and every single guy that passed that ball, their head was up looking for that next man.
LaSala against Price, or rather Kroll, the long pole. Petey has it, and he'll play it back to Quentin Matsui. You see Buckshot remaining out there on attack. Tyler Hendricks started. High Point is treating this non-conference part of the schedule a little different. This is more about finding your identity and making sure you believe in that identity once you get into conference play. And John Torpy is trying to figure out, hey, what are the right pieces? What's the right mix? Whatever that mix ends up being, you got to assume Buckshot's a part of it.
It's got to be. I mean, he's made 3 incredible plays tonight.
Here's Biankowski, the freshman. Speed is his calling card. A high school track champion, top 100 recruit. Moore, 5 assists. And he's got his first tally of the game, a 6-point evening for Matt Moore, who last year was the first 40-40 player in the illustrious history of Virginia lacrosse.
When you watch Matt Moore, and I mentioned earlier tonight when I was speaking with him yesterday about those quick midfield dodges, it's not a lot of a back and forth, it's a split and go. That's kind of like a traditional midfield dodge from behind the cage. It's the vision tonight, and it's been the vision for the last season and a half that's been off the charts with Matt Moore. But for a guy to just understand goal line extended, right? And we've seen him from that same spot be a passer, and this time now a scorer.
Love the way he ran off that pick, used his speed. His product never looks the same twice, Paul. He's got so many different things he can turn in his arsenal.
Deceptively quick, too.
He mixes it up. He's got speed. He's got the rollback. He's got shake. He's got assists. He's got goals. Like, he's a little different every time I see him.
And he's bigger, too. I asked him when he first got to school how much did he weigh as a freshman. He said 180. Now he's at 205. I mean, that's a man.
It's like Q's pocket squares. You know, sometimes it's a white index card. It's a blue index card. A couple weeks ago it was a hotel key. Today, a white index card, but you took some highlighter and you colored in the top so it looks like it's neon yellow, right?
These are secrets, Anish. These are secrets.
Here's Garno.
Looking for Laviano. And High Point was out of bounds with possession. It's Virginia ball.
No reset of the shot clock.
So out of bounds without possession. Here's Moore. Over to Garno. Now Krause on the wing. 15 to shoot. Garno drew the slide, turns it over.
Great double team, really well timed. You got numbers here.
Score! High Point beating Alex Rode low. It's Colin Clothier, the junior. And it's 12-9. Panthers not going away, Paul.
Take a look at this from the other side. Garno, just a freshman. It's a good double team. Turned his back, Quint. The boys came flying.
I love it. And the turnover's high in the zone, so it offers a run-out opportunity. High Point can sting it in transition. I love that aggressive mindset. They're playmakers in space. That's a beautiful goal that started with that double team. Ooh, that's a problem.
They are doing a stick check right now.
That's a problem. Uh-oh. Here comes the flag. 3 strikes and you're out.
Why are you assuming it's illegal? Debbie Downer.
The ball didn't come out of the stick. That's illegal. I'm not assuming
Let
anything.
it go through its complete check here.
The ball's not coming out of the stick.
It's Petey LaSala's stick, and there's the flag.
I'm not assuming anything.
He's never letting you cut his hair again. This is a big momentum swing too, Q.
Well, the face-off position is really difficult, and that your stick is getting warped and bent every rep.
Right.
It's up to you to use a softball or a hockey puck to bring the stick back to its original integrity, and that is a width. Watch, the ball doesn't roll out of this stick when Hans Wittelsberger, the official, turns it upside down.
But that doesn't have to be because of the width. That could be because of the shooting strings, too. The shooting strings could be really, really tight, prohibiting the ball from flushing down.
So that is a 3-minute penalty against Virginia. And this gives High Point a chance to really get back into the game and cut into this 3-goal deficit.
Illegal pockets a minute when you alter the
and it's
width
unreleasable,
or the length.
too.
Yes, when you alter the width or the length right there. So it's the width.
There. It's width and or the.
I'm not assuming anything on that one.
No, it's width or that looked like it was a shooting string that was the ball was getting lodged under the shooting string. That's unfortunate.
A 3-minute non-releasable penalty now against Virginia.
I can't imagine what that feels like for the athlete now to put your team in this position.
Nolting probing from X. Feeding in front. Coughlin the goal. And High Point within 2. And they still have 2:45 to go with the extra man. And they'll face off with a man advantage now.
This is tough. This is tough to deal with when you put your team in this situation. Nolting showed great touch with this pass, I thought.
I thought so too. His eyes are always up. The anticipation and the patience of Asher Nolting, and
it's very catchable. He didn't drill it in there. He just put it to space, almost like a touch pass in basketball.
What I'm really impressed with Nolting and watching him early in his career, it looked like he was going to the goal first to be a goal scorer. Now I think he understands teams are gunning for him. He's got to be the quarterback back there. He's got to use his lacrosse IQ and his overall skill to get those teammates involved because he's that good of a player, Asher Nolting. He can run this offense.
How big was that? Justin Schwenk off the bench. And he's not your typical number 2 faceoff man. He was a former Rookie of the Year in the MAAC at Monmouth and was the starting faceoff man for almost 2 years at Virginia before LaSala took over in the middle of last year.
Man up, man down faceoffs, almost count double. What's the strategy here? Now you got a shot clock. It's a 3-minute non-releasable. How aggressive does High Point get?
Yeah, they're close to the midline against Laviano. There's the double. Laviano sandwich, lost it. Down goes Laviano, no flag, and it's picked up by High Point. Big ground ball. Panthers able to come away with it. On the inside, diving toward the goal. Will it count? No! We've got the goal mouth in play now. Buckshot, they said. Either he was in the crease or dove toward the goal mouth, and there's a flag down. And if he dove toward the goal mouth, this will be against High Point.
He may have even stepped in the crease before any of that, though.
I thought he got pushed from
behind.
And
I think that's the conversation right now. Well, even if he's pushed from behind and the official felt he was going to dive toward the goal mouth, and that's where his path was going to go.
You're correct.
It's still a penalty on the offensive player.
That's a push from behind with possession.
But was he going towards the goal mouth?
And the goal mouth, as you can see, that's the little...
I don't think that was his intended path. I think he wanted to go tangent to the crease, and the defender is at Kaloji 16, pushes him in the numbers.
The goal mouth is
right
that
there. That's
half
clearly
moon.
A push from behind.
Yeah.
Agree?
I agree. It's a push from behind.
You feel like he wasn't headed towards the goal mouth?
No, I don't. I think he was going to go tangent, and he was redirected by the Virginia defender.
Now let's see what they say.
There's a crease violation on black. It's going on white.
No foul, but a crease violation is called, and John Torpy is livid.
So they're saying that he stepped in the crease before any of that diving or any of that push.
Wow.
That's what they're saying,
Look,
right?
But see, here's where you don't have
This
replay.
is,
you don't have replay.
I was going to say, this is by far the most difficult call. Things happen fast. You're looking at, the referees are looking at, they have many responsibilities, okay? And they don't have replay. That's unfortunate. It's a big call in this game.
It is, and there were a lot of ways it could have gone wrong. It goes wrong for High Point. That goal mouth is that little half moon you see in front of the goal. They've actually made it visible to everybody this year.
It's a 6-foot radius, the goal mouth, clearly defined now. Last year, it wasn't clearly defined. That, to me, looks like a push. I'm not, perhaps Kaloji didn't extend his arms, and that's why it wasn't called
But they
a push.
called a crease violation, meaning that he stepped in the crease regardless.
So there's no foul, there's no flag there. That just
Because
results
if
in
the
the other
goal
team
mouth
getting
came
the ball.
into play, there would have been
A flag. Yes. And initially we saw the flag. It looked like the initial call was crease violation. Then the flag went up, and on the replay you saw the push, you saw the dive.
And you see Virginia now trying to milk the rest of this 40 seconds on the extra man for High Point. It was a 3-minute unreleasable with Petey LaSalle's stick. It's a 1-minute penalty with a stick violation if the pocket is too deep. If anything else on the stick is altered in terms of the width or the length, 3 minutes.
So High Point got it back with the shot clock running down. Virginia throws it into the corner, and then Parker Green airmails Cole. 12 turnovers for High Point. 24 seconds now left on the man up. So instead of High Point having another opportunity, Virginia gets the ball back. And, oh boy, these last few minutes, some wild pendulum swings. And we are now back to even strength. Virginia survived a 3-minute non-releasable and only gave up 1 goal. Biankowski. Saved by Green. He's got 13. Way out of the cage, and Green with a hustle to the sideline.
He's a gamer.
He's
a gamer.
If you're just joining us, we talked about him quite a bit in the first half. Parker Green, freshman from Memphis, Tennessee. He's got an interesting taste in music.
He's an old soul, 50s and 60s. Elvis, Johnny B. Good.
I like that when I hear that about a young kid these
Well,
days,
think about the Elvis, right? He's from Tennessee, right outside of Memphis, so Elvis makes sense, but he's into that genre. You're listening to, 90s on 9, right? Pop 2K.
I like the 80s, Flock of Seagulls.
Yeah, he's got 50s and 60s going. Oldies, classics. Don't Be Cruel, his favorite song, Elvis.
I almost bought that gold jacket I sent you, Anish, when I was in Memphis shopping in Elvis's tailor store.
Yeah, if I was at the same haberdasher you were at, I've got to look myself in the mirror then, Q. Nolting, bouncer wide.
It's like metallic gold, shiny. Beautiful, beautiful garment.
I get a text from Quint. What do you think? I think I replied with ellipses and then left the conversation. Nolting.
Big grounder.
Look at this. Virginia's defense swarming.
Shot clock.
Shot clock violation. Who's going quickly? Merle.
Thought it was interesting that Lars Tiffany telling us against Princeton he felt his defense got tired late in some possessions, on some resets. That shot clock resets, you're playing 80 plus 80, 2-minute plus possessions. I thought it was really revealing when he said, in practice we have to stop blowing our whistle so much.
Yeah.
Let things play out at 2 to 3 minute spurts to create that conditioning.
Matt Moore has 5 assists. Looking for Kraus. And the ground ball scooped up by High Point. P.J. Peters.
That's a dilemma for coaches, Clark. Do I stop practice to teach one athlete the skill, or do I just keep it going and maybe address that later?
I like this timeout here by John Torpy. Big possession for High Point here in the third quarter. 3:47 to go. Panthers still very much in striking distance looking to take down Virginia again.
Old Spice College Lacrosse is brought to you by Old Spice. Smell like your own man and not other men, man.
Welcome to the grounds, Jefferson's old home, Klockner Stadium on the campus of the University of Virginia. High Point had a 3-minute non-releasable penalty. They scored 1 goal with the extra man. It looked like they may have had another. That was waved off, and the call was crease violation.
Yeah, well, the right foot of Buckshot perhaps stepped on the crease. And that's what it looks like the signal is there. So when you watch that in slow motion, it looks like that right foot when he turned the corner.
And you saw the ref point to that, too, right on the line. That's a good call.
Now, this is a big possession now for High Point. Trying to get within 1. The Panthers led 4-1 early before a Virginia blitz. Baker against the freshman Bauer. They're inverting Nolting now. Kaler over to Asher Nolting on the wing. The All-American. And that is off the cross of Snyder, a turnover.
You look at this right here. Why not go on this, right? Or get a switch with Kraus. Kraus now has the shorty.
Kraus beats Green, and it's 13-10. You called it.
It's straight conflict, right? You play the 2-man game with Kraus and Cormier. One of them is going to eat. It's that simple.
This has been their bread and butter so far this season. The left-handed 2-man game on the wing. Look at the effective clear out. Now, you're in a dilemma defensively. You gotta go. You gotta go and flush the ball out of the stick of Kraus here. When he gets to the middle, he's just so dangerous.
And the thing about Michael Kraus, take this all into account. Last year, he's dodging the #1 pole, right? Now, Matt Moore gets that attention. You play the 2-man game with Cormier, and now it's a switch, and he's going against a short stick defensive midfielder.
He's a bull.
Bye-bye.
Kraus is a bull with a healthy ankle this year.
Yeah, in some ways, he was a little bit of a forgotten man coming into the season, given how Matt Moore finished. And it's easy to forget that a couple of years ago, he had just the second 80-point season in Virginia history.
And he's been dodging #1 poles for 3 years here at Charlottesville.
Matt Moore has one of those 3 80-point seasons. Chance for High Point off the scramble.
Trailer.
Baker, skip past to Nolting on the doorstep to the pole! Grant Amon has made it a 2-goal game, 13-11. Asher Nolting with the touch pass.
Virginia was sloppy in the middle of the field against Princeton, and it cost them. Sloppy pass, and High Point continues to play in transition. Man, they just flow well in transition. They share the ball, their poles all handle.
That was how they beat Virginia last year.
Absolutely. And this is a great indication of a long stick midfielder, right? You saw Jared Connors. Now you see Grant getting that goal. If you're a coach, get these guys the offensive reps, because with the new college rules, these guys have to play both ends.
Schwank turns it over. And now High Point will try to close to within 1 here in the final 2 minutes of this third quarter.
And they're believing. You just look at their body language on their bench. They are believing.
They've got a young goalie in Parker Green who stepped into dinosaur footprints, taking over for Timmy Troutner. He looks like a keeper. He's played well tonight. The way we judge goalie stats, especially the save and goals allowed number, has to change a little bit. Offense is up everywhere now.
Yeah.
You're facing more shots. Green told me last week he faced a lot of shots in high school, so he's comfortable in those scenarios. Schleppe against Parker. Too high.
You know, you make a great point about how you have to change kind of the perception of a player. You got to change the perception of a long stick midfielder too. Almost like they played back in the heyday, right?
Nolting and Kaloji. Nolting feeding inside. He's got Russell. At High Point within one, they refuse to die.
Michael Sowers on Saturday saw the next layer of the defense, right? It's not just what's in front of him. It's the next layer. And look what Asher Nolting's doing there. This is an incredible pass. I mean, the level of difficulty to hit the backside as High Point jumps up and down, knowing that they won on this field last year, they could win on this field this year.
Like a drone seeing the defense. He sensed the double team. He knew where the defense was vulnerable. And somehow, he just out of the sliver side of his eye, he caught his teammate. Nolting all of a sudden with monster assists in this game.
A 5-1 run for High Point. They trailed by as many as 5 in this quarter. Matt Moore, a goal and 5 assists today. Nolting, a goal and 4 assists.
Yeah, he's been spectacular. It's one thing to feed when a slide comes right in front of your face, but to see the layers of a defense kind of opening up in front of you from that angle to hit the backside, that's crazy.
Doc Aiken has the short stick matchup. Aiken trying to get to that right hand. Draws the slide, the bouncer. Green there again. 14 saves. The Panthers a chance to tie. Baker against Bauer. Final 10 seconds. Nolting against Kaloji. Nolting from his knees. Buckshot shoots and scores, and they say it counts. Wow. Devin Buckshot ties it at 13.
This is amazing. Are you kidding me?
He beat the horn clearly.
He beat Road and the horn.
Is the horn synced up with zeros on the clock? It's got to be out of his stick by zeros.
Nolting's getting mugged. Buckshot.
Count it.
Wow.
Absolutely. Count it.
Have one, young man, and that is the wrists again of Devin Buckshot. The wrists. You saw now on 3 of his goals, the wrist motion for 61 in black has been absolutely magical.
3 goals today, having the game of his life. John Torpy told me this kid has a chance to be special. We're getting a glimpse. Say it, Quint. Say it, Quint.
What day is it?
It's Tuesday.
What day is it?
Tuesday.
It's for the Hunter. We got 15 to go.
Tuesday night at Klockner National TV, Devin Buckshot was ready for his close-up.
Amazing. There's one word that best describes the performance. Wrists. Look at the upper body strength and the flick of the wrists of Devin Buckshot. For 3 goals and 1 assist, the common denominator is the flick of the wrist, Q. Within 1 second, he can get a shot off or a pass. It's been amazing.
High Point jumped out to an early 4-1 lead. Virginia responded. The Who's eventually took a 5-goal lead. They led 12-7 at one point in the third. High Point closing that third quarter on a 6-1 run, and we're tied at 13 as we begin the fourth quarter. Last year, High Point beat Virginia and Duke, 2 national semifinalists. And it's going to be High Point ball after a loose ball hold on Virginia. The Panthers have not led since about the 5-minute mark of the first quarter. Vines, great speed. And Nolting has had such a big hand in this comeback for High Point.
As a passer, especially in transition.
Russell. Warding off. Here comes John Fox, the junior captain, off the quick restart. Will Virginia go quickly?
We've got two offensive midfielders caught on the field, so they could have some nice matchups here.
And Connors with a long pole is a threat to score in the half field.
And he'll stay on in this situation so they can play 5-on-5. Put some pressure on High Point, get them out of their natural slide package and rotation.
Garno's a tough matchup here, 33 and white, a freshman. Great speed, hard shot. Moore against Price. Price a 3-year starter, Moore. Looking for Laviano on the cut. Garno tries to keep it in bounds, and it went off of High Point. It stays with Virginia. A flag coming against High Point.
It's going to be an offsides.
Offsides against the Panthers, so Virginia will go man up.
Black, 1, offsides, 30 seconds. Black 1, offsides,
Virginia
30
over
seconds.
with the extra man today. With the offensive talent
Just going to say,
they've
how does
had,
that happen?
that is one shocking, too. Prior to this game, they haven't had many man-up opportunities.
But I'm going to be honest. I think the problem, it's not the schemes or the formations, because when you have 6 guys like this, you should be able to hit the back of the net. They're not shooting great when they have their time and room type scenarios.
We get a whistle. Looks like a clock issue. No, John Torpy's not happy. They said start the penalty over at 30, reset the shot clock to 80. Now, there was a clock issue. Virginia 1 goal in the last 12 minutes plus. Clock operator error, we're told.
Yeah, but in Torpy's defense, it's not like those 10 seconds never happened,
Exactly.
right?
They never happened.
Kraus to Cormier, who's got 4 goals. Moore stings the top shelf.
Quint, that goal would have happened within the confines of the extra man, regardless.
That's a painful penalty for High Point. An offsides is almost like self-sabotage, making your job harder than it needs to be. Tons of time. Let's not lose our wits over 1 goal. Good execution, crisp passing. Look at Cormier, he's able to take that pass that maybe was a little high, boom, that half cradle. Yep. Man, he is an impressive player, 24 and white. Moore's had a big night.
You know what's been impressive about High Point today is how they've responded in the second half. You look at their first few games against Maryland, they were outscored 14-5 in the second half. Outscored 9-3 after halftime by Duke. -3 scoring margin in the second half against Cornell. Down 5 in the third quarter, it looked like Virginia was going to put this game away. They've responded, and there has to be a part of this Panther team which says, hey, you know, we faced Maryland and Duke and Cornell. 3 bona fides. We won on this field last year.
Virginia got away with a push.
I agree.
Back to what you were saying, Anish. They're up 4-1. When they're down 5, based on what's happened in the season so far, I was like, warm up the bus.
Right.
These guys are toast. Tells you a lot about the leadership of John Torpy, this team, and this fight. I think these guys understand, because of last year and the disappointment, they still have everything in front of them. They really do.
And Virginia is learning. You're the champs now. You were lovable Cinderella Virginia last year, everybody's favorite underdog. That narrative is out the window. You're now the big bad wolf. You're going to get everybody's best shot. You're everybody's Super Bowl, because everyone wants to take down the champ. Kraus to Moore. Connor has the backup. A 7-point game for Moore. 2 years in a row, he's gone for 7 against High Point. Connor on the invert. Around the bend. Missing Laviano. It comes back to Moore. 15 to shoot. There's Aiken now. Fourth quarter was Doc's time last year. He draws the slide. Skip pass to Cormier. Cormier wide with 4 on the shot clock.
Nice. Beautiful move.
Nice.
You see the plant foot there? That plant foot was everything.
Kraus looking for the cutter. And that's going to be a shot clock violation. Quick restart. Nolting pushing. Nolting to buckshot. Tied at 14.
Wow, you talk about mismanaging the end of a shot clock. Woo!
So you roll that in the corner.
Absolutely.
Or you go to the goal.
The worst thing that can happen is a restart in the middle of the field, a run out. I mean, that was, considering, two things here. At the end of the third quarter by Virginia, you wanted to kill the clock. That is not the way you want the shot clock to run out. I mean, look at this. Matsui's got to put that ball down. Nolting, stick up. Quick restart. Your defense isn't set. Turn and rate. That's a nightmare.
Yes. I think what you have to realize as an offensive player, at the end of a shot clock, you can go to the goal. But if you shoot and you make a pass, make it down towards the attack zone.
Deep in the zone, the better.
So your team has an opportunity to adjust,
sub-personnel off,
sub-personnel,
get in the hole.
and ride. But when you make that desperation pass, how about buckshot?
4 goals and a helper, and the one at the end of the third quarter to tie the game. And that's a juice goal. Connor. Ars Tiffany wants him to be more aggressive this year. He said he'd live with turnovers from Jeff Connor. Cormier too high, and Moore has the backup on Price. 33 on the shot clock, plenty of time. Moore, little hop step. Looking for Laviano, and normally those two are so in sync, but it seems they've not been able to connect tonight.
Aggressive look, I don't mind it. The key here now for High Point is clear against pressure. Come back to the ball, midfielders especially.
Long outlet pass results in a turnover. 17 turnovers for High Point. Aiken puts on the brakes.
There are no gimme clears against Virginia. Teams clear around 70%.
That's such a killer now because you got to dig in and play defense.
Aiken running start, loads up and scores! Oh, it's the fourth quarter. It's Doc's time.
That's the Docs we're accustomed to seeing. Plant, rip, shoot over 100 miles an hour. Look at the placement on this, too.
How do you give him that much room?
The whole scenario is demoralizing. From the failed clear, your defense isn't set up, you're not calling out numbers and finding the right matchups, and he's got all sorts of time and room. This is just a horrible scenario if you're a High Point fan.
And a gorgeous shot on a righty freshman goalie, Green, to put it low and away. That's the difference, too. Doc's in the first half a couple times, like, he was kind of in between. Should I shoot? Shouldn't I? And he was shooting high to high and showing his stick, and Green was reading it. That time, he stung it.
That's a pro-level shot, Clark, too.
High Point gets the face-off. They've got a chance. Buckshot, number 5. Tied at 15.
Watch this finish. Watch the head of his stick.
He folds it over. That jersey is a little tight.
He's 215, man.
5th of the night. The subtlety of this finish, the nuance of the finish. Watch his hands.
He actually wraps the head of his stick across his face for a twister there. In that moment, and to get it off this quick. Look at this.
Near side twister.
Yep. No goalie saving that. That's unbelievable.
No lefty goalie saving that.
It feels like we're watching the genesis of stardom tonight.
Just don't get your hair cut by Kark. You're in good shape.
When you watched Buckshot at practice last week, what were your takeaways?
Impressive because of his physicality and creativity. And John Torpy said, man, I'm telling you, this kid's got a chance to be really good. Had a red shirt last year. It just hadn't all clicked for him. And he said, I want to play him on man up, work him slowly into my starting lineup.
Yeah, slowly.
Well, he didn't start today. He was on man up early. He's now playing for Hendricks.
I'm aware. Slowly, no more.
And I'll tell you what, he's not coming off the field tonight. Biankowski. Virginia coming off a loss to Princeton. High Point only one win on this season. They're 1-3. That was against Drexel. A chance there for Laviano.
That's his spot.
They're unselfish, and he's always working so hard inside, isn't he? He's constantly in motion.
One of the best off-ball players and one of the best writers amongst attackmen in college lacrosse. Kraus and Biankowski working a little two-man game. Kraus turns, little question mark dodge,
Great.
And Green is there again.
They got a reset here now. This is going to really tax this defense.
New 80. Shot clock resets on a shot on goal.
You get tired defensively. You lose your communication.
15 saves for Green. Matt Moore. John Torpy told us that they were toying with the idea of playing two goalies today. They said Parker Green would start. You may see Antonio Arcona in the second half. Green's not coming out of there.
High Point now switching to zone.
What's the MO for Virginia here, Paul?
I think you got to get the ball behind.
Garno, the bouncer.
When you have Moore and Kraus on those pipes, right, that can force goal line extended, but also are very good passers, I think you got to attack from behind on the zone.
50 shots for Virginia. Green has faced the artillery. And a turnover. Green out of the cage. Here's the ride from Virginia. Moore.
Great play by the goaltender.
Now Price has some room. Can he get past Laviano? He does. At High Point with a chance to take the lead. Price has the green light in transition. He'll give it to Nolting. A timeout by High Point. They know how critical this possession is. As Quint says, Tuesday is for the hunter. Can High Point knock off Virginia 2 years in a row? Great finish coming at Klockner. Welcome back to Old Spice College Lacrosse. This one has turned into a thriller. Virginia and High Point tied at 15 midway through the fourth quarter. Last year, High Point knocked off Virginia on this field. They beat Duke as well, and then had to watch those two teams in the semifinals when High Point didn't even have an NCAA tournament invitation. Devin Buckshot, 61 in black. His star shining bright for High Point. 5 goals for the redshirt freshman. We're watching a burgeoning star tonight.
5 goals on 6 shots. Keep shooting.
Buckshot fakes the pass. Buckshot thought about it. It's slowing down for him. He had the matchup on Matsui. Now Nolting against Kaloji. Nolting lowering that shoulder. Falling down. Big save by Rode and a shot by Buckshot. Shot clock resets.
Important grounder here.
Virginia with all the white jerseys, and it's the human Roomba. No, that's not Connors. That was Bauer. That's the first second half save for Rode. Burl clears for Virginia. 6.5 to go.
First thing you got to do offensively is determine, is it man-to-man defense or zone? If it's man-to-man, you'll probably see a two-man game with Cormier and Kraus on this near left-hand wing.
Here it is.
Here's Cormier. Dumps it off. Pass is knocked down off the cross of Laviano. Now Kraus. Cormier, the Canadian. Big-time recruit a year ago. Missed the season with a torn ACL. Aiken backs down his man. Spun to the left hand. Now doubled. Still time to shoot. Aiken off the wing, gets free, too high. It stays with Virginia, 19 on the shot clock. 51 shots for Virginia. High Point gives up more than 50 a game. And a save by Parker Green, who has stood in the face of fire all day. 16 saves, a chance here for High Point in transition. Unsettled. Baker. And that is a shot.
I tell you,
It stays with High Point. Wow.
the Virginia shot hit Laviano.
It did.
Laviano bailed out low, and unfortunately his teammate chose to shoot it low. But at the other end, High Point had numbers there, Clark. I didn't love that fast break.
Now Nolting. Waiting for the slide. It's not there. Nolting gets free. Ooh, almost. 5:01 to go. Still tied. Nolting this time from X. Kaloji. And a turnover by High Point. A Virginia ball, less than 5 minutes left. If you're looking for TCU Iowa State basketball, tune into ESPN News for the start of that game. We'll join in progress once we're finished at Klockner. If you're a basketball fan that's never seen lacrosse, stick around. You might like what you see. Couple of teams filling up the cage tonight. And this looks destined for a good finish. Aiken has it checked away. Big ground ball. That's over and back. It's High Point ball. Quick restart. Nolting. Nolting had a steam. Left hand bouncer. Road knocks it down and covers it up. His biggest save of the night.
Gotta watch High Point defensively right now. How much gas do they have?
High Point out of timeouts. Virginia's got 2. Do you take one here if you're Lars Tiffany?
I think he likes what he's seeing. Feels that he's got this team on the ropes a little bit, but if things go helter-skelter, that's when you use the TO.
The freshman Garneau. Over to Moore. 5 helpers today. Moore whips it wide. 3:03 left, tied at 15. Now Krause playing with the flu. Connor to Laviano! Virginia with the lead. 2:57 to go in regulation.
If you're just joining us, in the first half, Virginia goalie Alex Rode was outstanding. He had a quiet third quarter, but this last save may be the play of the day. Bouncer, he manages to get his stick on it and cover the rebound.
But you look on the other end, Parker Green, did he play that correctly in regards to just chasing behind the cage there? A little desperation mode too early?
Yeah, Krause runs off the pick. You want to stay home as the goaltender. Defensively, not great execution by High Point.
How about the job Clayton Kroll has done as a long pole facing off for High Point? Davis Sampier went down with an injury, and Kroll has limited Virginia's transition opportunities off face-off wins. But this time, the Who's have a chance. Connors, he's got 2 goals already. Krause shoots and scores! 4 for Michael Krause, the flu game.
Connors is a problem for every team he faces. Covers so much ground. Amazing on GBs. And he does it again. First team All-American, top long stick. midfielder in college lacrosse a season ago. We saw him scoring 2 goals, and then the awareness not to press too much, to give it to your ace on the left-hand side. Michael Kraus cans another one.
2 goals in 19 seconds, and Virginia with the lead, 17-15. A season high in goals for Virginia. LaSala wins it, clears it back. 20 seconds to get it across the midfield line. LaSala absorbs the contact. Connor can't handle the pass. Kroll picks it up, and High Point sets up its clear. You have to get it over midfield before that shot clock hits 60. Asher Nolting, the All-American, double teamed, loose ball. On the carpet, picked up by Virginia. Here comes Parker.
It's like Lars Tiffany may use a timeout here. He's all over the officials.
Walsh fell down, slow getting back for High Point.
They're going to rag the shot clock here and start taking their time.
The problem is, though, if you use a timeout there, then you give High Point an opportunity out of the timeout to double and set something up.
That's exactly right.
But you can run this down to about 30 seconds.
Absolutely. He was stalking the official. If he didn't like what he was going to see, he was going to call a timeout. But now, Virginia's in runaway and hide mode.
Kroll chasing Garno. He's a hard one to keep up with. Garno slips, and there's the timeout by Virginia. 27 on the shot clock, 1:02 to go in regulation. High Point has given Virginia all it can handle today. The SoCon has had some success against the ACC since the start of last year. High Point beat Virginia and Duke. Richmond beat Notre Dame last year. Air Force beat Duke earlier this year. Skin in the Game tonight presented by Old Spice.
What do you think of Jared Connors, man? He's been making plays all over the field. Inside finisher with the long pole. Well, he can do it in, and he can do it from downtown, shredding it.
I like the dish. That's not an easy pass to make while a guy's draped on your back. You got that long pole, and he puts a nice little pass on Krause's shoulder. He's had a big game. Connors is a valuable member of the transition Virginia offense. I mean, he's a guy that I could see having 20 to 25 points this year.
I think that's realistic because you gotta account for the fact that I think he's right. And I'll tell you what,
a point a game.
I think you're right. And the reason being, think of all of the opportunities Ryan Conrad and Matt Jama had, right? Right now, he's got to pick up some of those pieces, right? Whether he has a long pole or not. Find your transition somehow. Last year, he didn't have to be so aggressive in the transition. He had a great year statistically for a long pole, but you had Conrad with those punt return type clears. That was a Conrad type dish.
And I thought he played the ground ball scrum really well. He was cherry picking on the offensive end, so when he got it, he was off to the races.
High Point jumped out to a 4-1 lead. Virginia led by as many as 5 in the third quarter. High Point tied the game at 13 on a shot at the horn to end the third. But 2 goals in a 19-second span here in the fourth have given Virginia a 2-goal lead. Cavaliers with the ball, 27 seconds on the shot clock. Shooting on the empty net is Krause, and it's wide. Virginia fortunate to have the backup. High Point out of the cage. They're pressing out.
Tell you, if you're High Point on that far side, you gotta anticipate that shot and win that race to the end line.
Krause, do you shoot it again? This time Green retreats. Krause now shoots and scores, and that's the dagger. We didn't even think Michael Krause would play tonight. He was sick, he had the flu. Lars Tiffany told Quint and I at midfield before the game, you know, we'll see how he does. Maybe we play him in spurts. Maybe we get him in there for the start of the game, see how long he can go. He's been in there for the duration, and he's put up 7 points.
He's having a big year because he's back to health, and he can do a lot of things. He can dodge from X, drop that shoulder and run through people. Great mid-range shooter, and he's got a wonderful game sense as well.
Well, I think statistically this should be Michael Krause's best year because of Matt Moore. Matt Moore is getting the number one poll every single game. So Michael Krause should be able to feast on the second option defensively teams throw at him. And tonight, supposed to be sick and not playing, he drops a nickel.
Yeah, there was no face-off Virginia ball because of a penalty on High Point's coaching staff. So infraction from the bench area, and Virginia will run out the clock. What did we learn today about Virginia, Paul?
That they have the experience with their big-time players when things are tough to respond. I mean, this is a team that's played in the biggest games in 2019, winning a national title. Krause, Aiken, the knowns made the difference. Connors in the fourth quarter.
Valiant comeback for High Point. What did we learn about the Panthers?
That even though their record may not be that great, they're a major threat to win this OCON later in the season.
It was a thriller Tuesday night at Klockner. Tuesday for the Hunter, but the Hunted survives. Virginia by 3.